I would like to thank Cricut for sponsoring today's video. Hi everyone, it's Kieran with Thrifted Living. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. In today's video, I would like to share with you my top 5 tips for organizing a pantry space. In this video, I will be sharing 5 things that I did to create my pantry space, and one of the tips that I will share with you actually features my Cricut Joy, and I actually use that machine to create some really great labels for my pantry. So let's jump right into the video. So in this video, I'm going to be featuring creating a pantry space in a non-dedicated pantry area, if that makes sense. So pretty much in our home, we did not have a dedicated pantry. We actually took a storage closet that is in the kitchen and we turned that space into a pantry. We did have like a separate cabinet, but we were really struggling with keeping that space organized, so we decided to work on this space to create the pantry. And that would be my first tip. Find a space that works for you and works for what you have in the space available that you have. So I think that you don't necessarily need a completely separate room or a completely separate closet to be able to create a pantry. I think it's pretty much using the space that you have, but making sure that you have organizational systems that work in that space. So when we first moved in, this was like a storage space, and it was pretty much just like an empty closet. And so what we ended up doing was actually creating some shelves using some items that we found at Lowe's, and we pretty much took the space and made it work for us. And that would be my second tip, is to find organizational systems or shelving that works for you. It's not going to look the same for everyone. Every space is different, but definitely look at the space you have, see what type of materials you have, and try to maximize that space. So for us, that meant installing different types of shelves and different organizational systems within the pantry, and we really definitely noticed a big difference when we started organizing this space differently. And what I'm sharing with you now is from the first time that we organized the pantry. In this video, you are going to see that I actually organized the pantry 3 different times, and as you can see, it turned out really nice, and I was really happy with how it looked, and I felt really accomplished with what we were able to do in this space, and it just really felt like it made a big difference, and everything was organized and I was able to really see everything, but I still didn't feel like I was quite done with the space. So we started using the pantry, and then this happened. As you can see, all of that organization sort of stopped working for us, and we just were having a really hard time keeping everything organized, and it just sort of felt like a space that we were just throwing stuff into. So my third tip would be to reevaluate the organization that you have in your pantry. Like I said, we used this pantry for quite some time, and the organizational system that we had was just no longer working, and so I decided to try something different. I think that sometimes it can be hard to sort of reevaluate an organizational system because you spent so much time working on it the first time, but for me, this was the best thing that I could do. And what I ended up deciding to do was to use some soda can organizers that I found at Dollar Tree to organize this space. And that leads into my next tip, which is organize with bins or baskets. And I find this super helpful because when I'm organizing with a bin or basket, I'm able to have everything together in one spot. And I love these can organizers from Dollar Tree. I've actually organized with them for several years, and they're so helpful to organize canned goods. But for me, when I'm able to use bins or baskets, it's just so much easier to be able to have everything together in one spot. Especially when we do a grocery pickup order, I'm able to bring everything into the house, and then I know exactly where everything goes in the pantry. As you can see, these bins make a huge difference in this pantry. So we continued to use the pantry, and as you can see, the can organizers have held up really, really well. I did have to go through and just sort of reorganize a couple things, but it really wasn't too bad. And so there was one more project that I wanted to do in this pantry, and it's another tip that I have for you guys, and I think one of the most fun parts of organizing a pantry, and that is to create labels for the bins in your pantry. I am so excited to be using my Cricut Joy machine to create labels for my pantry. For this project, I am using my Cricut Joy machine. I'm also using the removable smart vinyl. I'm using some transfer tape and also the weeding tools. And I am so excited to be tackling this project because I love creating labels. It's one of my absolute favorite things to do. I used the Cricut design space to create the labels. I chose a font that I liked, and I also made sure to go through and measure the bins to see exactly what size I needed the labels to be. And I went through and I simply wrote all of the different words on the design space, and then I set up everything using the Cricut Joy machine, which is so easy. The Design Space guides you through the entire process of cutting something using your Cricut Joy machine, and I just absolutely love how easy it is to use this. Once the project had been completely cut out, I was able to go through with the weeding tools and remove the extra vinyl. I then placed a piece of transfer tape on top of the cut vinyl, and then I used another tool to sort of just press everything down to make sure that everything was attached, and then I was able to actually use the transfer tape as a way to keep all of the letters together, and then I was able to apply them onto the can organizer. Once I had the label exactly where I wanted it, I was able to go through and just peel off the transfer tape. I am so happy with how these labels look on these bins. I think that adding labels to the bins is helpful for a variety of reasons, but one reason that I really like having labels on the bins in the pantry is that I am able to easily see exactly what everything is in the pantry. I think that adding labels is also another way to decorate in the pantry. I am so happy with how these labels turned out. It was such an easy project to do using my Cricut Joy machine. I hope that you find my top 5 tips for organizing a pantry helpful. Again, I would like to thank Cricut for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget to check me out on Instagram or Facebook. Please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!